This could be a very good horse, endorsing his position in the market for next year's 2,000 guineas. Frankel wins the Royal Lodge in tremendous style.
Frankel now in full cry, Celebration and Immortal Verse. Two quality horses are made to look mere mortals as Frankel remains unbeaten and wins the QE2.
And it's all the ones for Frankel. It's going to be 11 from 11 here. The champion of the world, Frankel in majestic form by 8 or 9 in the Queen Anne.
This is the story of Frankel, a horse who was centuries in the making and who for 3 seasons has dazzled and amazed in equal measure. For 300 years, man has been breeding racehorses in the hope of what might be achieved. And in Frankel, they may just have created not only the best horse we've seen, but the best there has ever been.
Fans of 21st century racing will always think of Frankel as the best horse that they've ever seen.
Frankel set the bar higher than possibly any horse ever has in the past.
The most consistently, extravagantly brilliant flat race horse that anyone's ever seen or ever likely to see.
He really is, he's something else.
It all began here at Banstead Manor Stud, home to so many of Prince Khalid Abdullah's champions of the past. On February the 11th, 2008, a bay foal was born by superstar Galileo out of Kind, who would dominate the European racing scene in a way never known before. His potential was always evident, but the first time the public got to see him on a racecourse was in a 1-mile maiden at a rain-soaked Newmarket. In what turned out to be one of the greatest races of its type ever held at racing's headquarters, the subsequent world champion Frankel defeated future multiple Group 1 winner Nathaniel by half a length, with the 2012 Ascot Gold Cup winner Colour Vision languishing down in 11th.
Yes, I mean, it's funny that in those sort of times, Gosden's got one and Cecil apparently's got a nice horse sort of stuff. That was the sort of vibrations when I only sort of picked it up afterwards. It's not that overwhelming. He wins well and he beats a horse called Nathaniel who turned out to be very, very good.
You look at the strength and depth of that maiden. I think the second last horse was Colour Vision. Obviously that was too sharp for him. He went on to win an Ascot Gold Cup. What a maiden of your lifetime.
Frankel quickens well.
From then, it was on to Doncaster, and a facile 13-length triumph, putting more flesh on the bones of a growing reputation.
Going to remain 2 from 2, and he might just have a touch of star quality about him. Frankel wins in the hands of Tom Queally.
In Frankel's next race, the Royal Lodge at Ascot, none other than future Irish Derby winner Treasure Beach was among his victims.
This leader's going very easily indeed. Frankel, who now pulls 3 lengths clear, 4 lengths clear of Clamour in second, and then Eskimo and Treasure Beach and Slim Shady, and Frankel is really stretching away entering the final furlong. He's a class apart from these. He's 8 or 9 lengths clear of in second place Clamour, and this could be a very good horse, endorsing his position in the market for next year's 2,000 guineas. Frankel wins the Royal Lodge in tremendous style.
It was as if something had gone wrong, because one minute he's anchored behind 4 horses. As they come round the turn, the brakes let go by Tom Queally, and he just sort of spun round the outside and rocketed away. And it was the most astonishing thing. And you did genuinely think, well, something must have gone wrong with the others.
The burst of speed he showed, leaving the back straight to cut 10 lengths out of the field, really beggared belief. And it was after that race that Sir Henry said for the first time that Frankel was almost certainly the best 2-year-old he'd ever trained.
It was billed as the 2-year-old race of the century. Frankel against the brilliant Middle Park winner Dream Ahead, Samid, whom the Godolphin lads nicknamed Pegasus in the yard, and Aidan O'Brien's Roderick O'Connor.
It was all about the match with Dream Ahead in the Dewhurst. Dewhurst, unfortunately, he flopped Dream Ahead just over the top, didn't act on the track, didn't look right in the paddock that day. Frankel was workmanlike there as well. He was probably over the top, still thrashed them.
Frankly, I remember writing something later on. It's no good pretending now. At the time, there were just a bit doubts. He was very, very rank, and he, in the end, won. He had to be organised. He won quite decisively, but he was nothing like he developed into later, certainly visually, and it was okay, and it was good enough to be the best around. You felt the horse may well have controllability problems.
It was as a 3-year-old that Frankel would have to prove himself both the physical and mental finished article if he was going to win the 2,000 guineas.
The Greenham possibly didn't contain the wow factor that everyone had hoped for. Celebration gave him a fight, and until the final furlong and a half or so, you weren't completely sure that Frankel would win. And some also expressed fears about his temperament. He was a little bit headstrong. How would he cope in the Guineas amid the atmosphere of a classic?
On the last Saturday in April, he answered his doubters in style, with an astounding performance the like of which had never been seen before. Rolly Mile history rewritten. It was utterly spectacular. And it was the race that began reshaping racing folklore and to change our idea of just what the racehorse was capable of achieving.
He was about a furlong clear once. It was absolutely so ludicrous. I'd never seen anything like it ever.
I think we thought that Frankel was carting Tom Queally and he had no control of what was going on. We couldn't believe he could possibly keep going.
It was a sensational performance. Quarter horses in America don't go that quick.
I was hoping and praying that we were going to see something special, and we saw something that you or I will never ever see again.
If Newmarket was breathtaking, his next race at Ascot was heart-stopping. A mid-race move by Tom Queally left Frankel clinging on at the death, the apparently invincible within less than a length of getting beat.
So Frankel now being ridden up towards his pacemaker, a deliberate move at halfway, and he's closing down, rerouted smoothly. Dubarwi Gold is 5 lengths back in third. Celebration, then Grand Prix Boss behind these Wooden Bassets. So Frankel turns for home and has gone about 3 clear from rerouted Dubarwi Gold, Celebration, then Nebras behind these, a Grand Prix Boss, then towards the outside Dream Ahead, 2 furlongs out. Frankel about 5 lengths clear from Celebration, Dubarwi Gold, Nebras and Zoffany. A furlong and a half to go. Frankel is maintaining the gallop at the moment. Celebration's got to within about 4 lengths. Dream Ahead hanging out with Zoffany. Frankel only about 4 lengths clear. Zoffany and Celebration. Half a furlong to go. Frankel with Zoffany coming hard, and he's going to get close. Frankel from Zoffany, but Frankel's unbeaten record is intact, and he beats Zoffany.
With the memory of Ascot still fresh in the mind, plenty were willing to oppose Sir Henry Cecil's star when he took on his elders for the first time in the Sussex Stakes.
Ascot did make some people think again about Frankel, but I think the consensus view was that he hadn't had a great ride on that occasion. And I don't think really it made us doubt him going into the Sussex Stakes. What we did think was that Camphor Cliffs was a very serious rival.
So it was very hold your breath time. I was standing by the winning post, and Mike Marshall, the assistant trainer, was there, and everyone was very tense. Could he do it?
It was billed as the duel on the Downs. Frankel going for career win number 8, but up against a mighty opponent in 5-time Group 1 winner Camphor Cliffs, who defeated none other than triple Breeders' Cup Mile heroine Goldikova at Ascot last time out.
And of course, it was a knockout blow. If you accept that the result is what you have, I mean, he's absolutely knocked him out and come away. And I remember feeling almost more excited then than any other time. And Mike Marshall and I went sort of jumped around and hugged each other. And Sandy, the lady who looks after Frank, came running. We danced around because it was a statement. And as we know, and we've had consistently since, the thing about Frankel is it's not just what he does, it's the way he does it. And that, low to the ground, flat out number was never better personified, I think, than that first Sussex Stakes at Goodwood.
And so Frankel's season would end back here at Ascot in the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes on the inaugural Kitco Champions Day.
2 furlongs out, the moment of truth as Frankel moves alongside Bullet Train. Immortal Verse in danger of running up the back of the pacemaker. Frankel is asked to stretch, has found 2 to 3 lengths from Celebration and Immortal Verse. Frankel being held together. Celebration 2 lengths down. Frankel now in full cry. Celebration and Immortal Verse, 2 quality horses are made to look mere mortals as Frankel remains unbeaten and wins the QE2.
Just when racing folk were gearing up for the new flat season, came the news that Frankel had suffered a setback, and though not the career-ending injury many had dreaded, it served as a timely reminder of how fragile dreams could be for the coming campaign. But the setback did nothing to stop Frankel, and he demolished old rival Celebration by 5 lengths in the Lockinge, prompting a few to complain that their rematch a month later in the Queen Anne at Ascot might be a bit boring.
They're ready. And they're off, they're racing. And it's Frankel that gallops into the lead. Celebration is again trying to go with him as they race inside the final quarter mile. And Quealy says go on the champ. It's Frankel that leads the way, and he opens up in tremendous style. 4 5 lengths clear of Celebration. The rest are well beaten off, and it's all the ones for Frankel. It's going to be 11 from 11 here. The champion of the world, Frankel in majestic form by 8 or 9 in the Queen Anne. Brilliant performance.
Outstanding mile performance, probably the best mile performance you'll ever see.
So away from 3 furlongs out, he just ripped the field apart, going further and further clear. The Royal Ascot crowd isn't really a racing crowd, but they were blown away by what Frankel managed.
It was mighty. It was a really mighty performance, and I think we got quite a lot of other emotions coming in. We were running into the 2012, summer of summers for Britain. It was Jubilee year. This was the climax of the Jubilee celebrations. The Royal Ascot is the Queen's course. This was our star turn, and it was the first race of the meeting. And once again, Frankel didn't just win. He absolutely blew them away.
Another page in the record books was written at Goodwood in August, when 20 to 1 on-shot Frankel became the first horse to win back-to-back Sussex Stakes and make it 7 Group 1s on the bounce in the process. That was just the warm-up, though, for the Juddmonte International and a first try at 1.25 miles. They don't hand Group 1s out on plates, and there were plenty at York to exploit the slightest weakness in Frankel's unproven stamina. Godolphin's Far had a distant view of Frankel in the Sussex Stakes, but had proven himself 1.25 mile horse of the highest order when third behind So You Think at Royal Ascot and a battling second in the Eclipse. Also lying in wait was 4-time Group 1 winner St Nicholas Abbey, who had won the previous season's Breeders' Cup Turf and had the benefit of 2 pacemakers in the race.
The York crowd was just the best. I mean, the atmosphere and the way they accepted him and greeted him and wanted to get a piece of him. I mean, there were people. There was a record crowd at the start, let alone anywhere else. So it was a really exceptional day.
For a horse to be as good as Frankel is over a mile and then be as good over 1.25 miles would be something else. But you can very much argue that Frankel was even better over 1.25 miles. 2 furlongs out, St Nicholas Abbey was cantering. Then you looked to his side and saw Frankel was going even better. Strode away from a top-class horse effortlessly, and it very possibly was his finest performance yet.
As had been the case in his 12 previous runs, Frankel returned victorious, and the passionate Yorkshire crowd, up 50% on the previous year, embraced Frankel and Sir Henry as one of their own. By now, Frankel was a very rare beast indeed, a flat horse who had broken out from the confines of the racing parish and into the public consciousness. Frankel was a horse with his own range of designer clothes, and even Her Majesty's household cavalry were persuaded to don the pink and green silks for one morning at least. There would be one final chapter to the Frankel story, and it would come once again here at Ascot on Kipco British Champions Day.
Ten furlongs, they're off and racing. Frankel slow away. A little bit of early drama with Frankel in 5th place, Sleeping coming out of the stalls. Cirrus de Zegler, Frankel moves alongside. Queeley's finger poised on the button for one final electric burst. Frankel bidding to settle it. Cirrus de Zegler is making a fight of it on the far side. Frankel extends. Cirrus de Zegler is a worthy adversary, but up towards the line. All comers, all grounds, all beaten. Frankel won the Champion Stakes and lives up to the title.
He had it under control, but that is him, isn't it? He is the greatest, isn't he?
I've so much belief in this horse, and I suppose in the past we sort of pushed that to the limit, but he's amazing, and I mean we sort of lost the length, but the length is nothing to him. You know, it's unusual for a flat crowd to get so behind a horse. It's so touching, and you know, you just come in and you say to yourself, wow, you know, and that sort of sums the horse up in every way.
Absolutely fantastic. Any ground and he still won as well. Absolutely fantastic, yeah.
Best, definitely. About the 5th time I've seen it, and today, best I've ever seen it.
Awesome, mate. As always, literally, like, it's unbelievable.
Absolutely brilliant day.
Brilliant most day, amazing horse.
And he won, brilliant.
Wherever Frankel stands in the list of all-time greats, he has been a colossus for a generation of racing folk who will tell tales of his brilliance for the rest of their lives.
Fans of 21st century racing will always think of Frankel as the best horse that they've ever seen and that they're ever likely to see. Frankel will be remembered simply as the greatest.
Aided by his trainer Sir Henry Cecil, who handled his career magnificently from start to finish, he was a wonderful, wonderful racehorse who, to a degree, reinvented and readjusted our views of what a thoroughbred can achieve. Frankel set the bar higher than possibly any horse ever has in the past.
He's brought a whole new generation of people to the sport. He's brought a wider public recognition of the sport, and he's given them something to really savour. He's the ultimate equine athlete. He's just never seen anything like it.
The most consistently, extravagantly brilliant flat race horse that anyone's ever seen or ever likely to see. I think he's the best horse over a mile we've ever seen, but we don't know what would have happened over the other distances, particularly the 3-year-old, because he was never tried. Therefore, for the best, well, as it should be, that title has to be over the ages shared.